Alrighty, what's up, friends? Alright, so we're going over week 2 of the modified followers styling and musicality series. What we went over is working more with angles. So stereotypically, I'll step back more. Stereotypically, we had hello. Hopefully, I can talk that far. Stereotypically, we have the angles, which is our sternum to our arm, right? And we can change the angle. This is what we talked about last week. From sternum, we have closed angle, neutral angle, obtuse angle, or open angle, right? So we wanted to work with more angles, which is also we can move our rib cage, we can move our hip hinges, right? We have head angles that can move. We have knees that can move. We have ankles that can move. So these are all different angles that you can utilize in your body. And the first drill that we did was we used a chair as our partner, right? No, it's fine, it's okay. We used a chair as our partner just to kind of get out of our heads a little bit. And we did our basic sugar push as I follow. So we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And then we utilized the chair for compression or to simulate compression, right? And I wanted you to act like you were the most exhausted human in the world and you were just like about dancing, right? So, or you can think about it like Marilyn Monroe, like just getting into it, right? So we went 1, 2, full exhaustion, right? That was what our drill was. And that's just to get us to go from straight up and down into like 1, 2, right, moving our bodies. And then I wanted you to make it more swing, and on 4, you're going to stand up, nice tall posture, right? So 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6, right? So I'm going to do it sideways, actually going to do it forwards, ready, and 1, 4, 5, 6, right? We're opening up a nice tall spine. And that's to give us more of a swing frame. Then we kind of went over manipulating that movement, because you notice when we did this movement, our rib cage went down. There was this like pendular action by stereotypically everybody in the room. No one went like, that was weird, okay? So there was a pendular action. We actually moved through, because when we're exhausted, we compress our bodies and we allow it to sag, right? I didn't really touch on that too much, but that's what we normally do, especially as Americans. We allow this action to happen, a little bit of kyphosis. And so we wanted to make it a little bit more swing-like by thinking we have head weight. Remember how we talked about head weight? If you take your chin, Patrick's going to do forward, I'm going to do sideways. If you take your chin and drop it down, and you try to stay on the balls of your feet and go as far forward as much as you can, you're going to end up clawing into your toesies. That's not on the balls of your feet. If you bring your chin up and try to go as far back as you can, but stay on the ball of your feet, it's going to be just a short amount of distance before you get into your heels, right? You can't pump your heels and wiggle those toes at the same time. So this is why we always want to go back to angles, right? When you have an angle, you can drop your chin, which is your head weight. Your head is heavy, and you drop your chin ever so slightly, not all the way down, don't want to hurt your neck, just drop your chin ever so slightly and bring your weight forward to the ball of your foot, and notice how much more distance you can move, right? Wait, I look like Michael Jackson here. That's amazing, okay? If you drop or lift your chin up ever so slightly and move all the way back, you can move a way longer distance than you were if you were neutral angle. Right? That's one way, forward and backwards energy. We also talked about quadrants of our crown, right? So we have the front half and the back half, as well as the sides, the right and left sides. And you can utilize those quadrants to focus where you're going to bring that head weight. So if you're in swing, 3rd foot position, 4th foot position, whatever, just as long as it's an angle, it can be a closed angle, it can be an open angle. As long as it's an angle, I don't care. Take your front right quadrant maybe and bring it as much forward, okay? Take your front left quadrant, bring it all the way forward. Take your back right, take your back left. You see how there's a lot more movement happening now when I'm being very intentional, right? And we added that into our sugar push. 1, 2, notice how I'm using my front right, and I'm dropping my chin ever so slightly to bring a forward momentum, because I'm going forward at this point. And I'm allowing the body to go through my 3 and 4. I'm upright again on 4, and then 5 and 6, I'm taking that back quadrant, back left quadrant, into my anchor. And you can allow your body to naturally move. So maybe your body went 1, 2, sideways this way, okay? Using the opposite quadrant. Maybe you want to do this, right? Something different. Utilize your rib cage and the head weight to make it more defined. Now, how do you make that look more swing, right? So you're going to make sure that your chin doesn't deviate too far from parallel, right? It's just a tiny bit up and a tiny bit down. It's not doom doom. So that's how you do it. And then you bring your energy down into the floor, rounding your spine, but keeping a flat back. Notice how I extended my butt backwards, right? When we tuck our tail, now we're really in kyphosis, right? So anytime you have opposition, you need to use your hips. And we went into hip weight, right? So we go into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You notice that it went dropping down on the compression, lifting up on extension. And that was one way you can utilize head weight. Was there anything else with head weight?
Don't drop your chin all the way. Keep it up a little bit.
Nice and pretty.
Don't completely go down, because then when you do that, you get too far into it and you get off balance.
Then we started to add in some hip weight, right? So we had head weight and hip weight. Those are two, or tail weight, right? So we used our little chair, right, to feel out where we were. So we took our chair and we did a nice little back bend, like, and we figured out we're on the balls of our feet with our toes, pump our heels, right? Stretched it out, because that just felt good anyways. And we moved our hips from side to side using our hip bones, and see how limited motion that is, right? And then we used our padding of our butt and see if we can move from there. And it was just limited motion. I'll do it from the front. Limited motion, right? So here's from hip bones. Here's hip, the booty cheeks. And then if you take it from the tailbone, you can actually move a tiny bit further, right? So you have more space. And so when you bring it underneath you, you can do the same thing here. You can shift weight from your tailbone and get further movement than you would if you could do from your hip bone.
Remember the weightlifting joke, right? You're sitting there, you're doing any kind of lifting weights, you need to pop the butt up just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit.
It's in opposition. Remember how I talked about that with the head weight? Anytime your rib cage goes forward, your butt needs to go back. If your rib cage goes back, your hip bones need to go under, or your tailbone needs to curl under, right? So this is to protect your spine, first off, but second off, for aesthetics. And so we utilize both our hip weight to utilize the movement. So like, let's say in a side pass, 1, 2, I'm already using my head weight to create this curve action, and I'm using my hip weight to pendular action through the side pass. And then I bring the pendular action up into my anchor, right? So we're experimenting with our space, and I want you to actually feel out what feels good in your body in a mirror first, and then maybe try it against like a wall. Push against a wall. So boom, ba, boom, ba, da, boom, ba, da. So that was a little extra, but I want you to see that you're allowed to take up space. Let's say for a sugar tuck, 1, 2. I'm staying back with my head weight back here because I'm still in extension. Then on compression, I'm going to use my front and my back, right? And now I have space to use my hips to do whatever I need to do, right? So I can use my hip weight to create cool angles and momentum, and I can use my head weight in the 4 quadrants to create cool momentum and angles. Is there anything else I missed?
Remember, we're doing big movements here. We're not doing small movements. So we are over exaggerating so you can see. A lot of these, we wouldn't do those big movements, right? Even the sugar pushes, you want to do something small but intentional with your movement, okay? Also, whatever you're doing, always come back to that stand-up position at the end.
Do the sugar push with the open sugar push. Boom, duck, boom. Notice how I'm able to use my hip to go further into the connection. I didn't move my center, I was able to move my hip weight. I can also use my head weight to create some cool angles, right? I didn't increase my distance towards him, all I did was increase intensity using my weight in my hips and weight in my head. And obviously this can be utilized for the leads as well. All of this.
That's it.
Cool, that was a long discussion. Hope to see you next week.
Bye.